Okay, well, let me go ahead and get started officially. So what I'll be doing this semester is I'll be recording or will provide already recorded lectures for you. And I do that on my iPad, and the iPad is taking control of the screen, and everything I'm seeing, or everything you're seeing on the screen, and everything I'm saying is being recorded for you, and that will all be posted for you on YouTube. And that'll be the way by which you will get the content information for the lecture, is that I will provide weekly presentations, and you'll take that link and just drop it into your browser and watch it on YouTube. It's kind of very convenient, actually, in that you can do it, in the comfort of your home whenever you want to. You don't want to get behind, right? But at least you can kind of choose where and when you're going to focus in on lecture. That's the discipline that you need to establish as a student taking a hybrid class. If you've ever taken an online or a hybrid class, you know how easy it is to get behind, right? It just is very, very tempting to get behind. Very, very easy to slip there. And I just want to encourage you that you can't do that, right? There's a lot of content in Biology 105, and you really have to stay on top of it and focus. And taking things hybrid, some people think it's a little easier because you have the convenience, and that's true. That's the advantage. The disadvantage is that sometimes you feel a little bit alone, a little bit separated. So it's going to be important that you establish a study group or a tutoring opportunity or some way that you're interacting with other people, okay? Promise me you won't just become a lone ranger as you're doing this course, okay? So let's go ahead and take a look at a few things on the syllabus. And we'll do a little bit of housekeeping, and then I'll show you some online resources as well. So this is Biology 105. This is a 2-semester sequence. There's a Biology 106 as well, which is Anatomy and Physiology 2. You must complete Biology or AMP 1 to move on to the second semester, and I'll get into some of those details here in a moment. My office is room 243C. That is a suite of offices up by the labs. If you've been to lab yet, I don't know where the labs are. And I'm in the corner office up there. The problem is I'm not there very much. I'm usually in the lab or I'm in a lecture, to be honest. So I'm not in my office very often. My office hours are pretty much those little glimpses of time in between my lectures and my labs. So the best chance to catch me, in addition to these hours, is simply go to the anatomy lab, right? And I'm there 18 hours a week. And you're always welcome to politely knock on the door and come in and see me if there's a concern you're having outside of these particular hours, okay? So I'm pretty easy to find, but I'm not always in my office, but I'm not too far away. My office phone, I'm just not there very much. The number I posted here for you is my secretary. Her name is Hillary, and she has regular hours, and so if you do have an emergency, you can call the number, she'll get the message, and she can get that to me. It's easier that way than leaving a message in my office. But honestly, I don't check my phone very much, so email is by far the best way to reach me. Okay, so please just grab that Sean.Macauley at muskegoncc.edu and send me a message. I respond to emails very quickly, usually within a couple of hours, and I watch it often. So that's really the best way to reach me, and I encourage you to do that. Don't use the phone. You can read all the details about Anatomy and Physiology 1, but we do things at Muskegon a little bit differently than most universities or colleges in the country, just the way that we divide the material up. By the time you take both Biology 105 and Biology 106, you will have received the entire breadth of information necessary for anatomy and physiology, and it transfers to MSU and other schools, no problem, as your entire anatomy and physiology sequence. But we just divide it up a little bit differently than most places, okay? But you're going to get it all in the end. This is a 6 contact hour course. That means that there's 3 hours of lab and 3 hours of lecture. And that's how you pay around here, right? You pay by contact hour. And there are no prereqs, meaning that if you haven't had a biology or a specific chemistry course in the past, that's okay. We're going to start at the ground level and work up. And if you've had some previous medical terminology or maybe some biology or chemistry, there are some topics that you may say, oh, that's familiar. I've seen that before. I can build upon that. But if you don't have that, it's okay. As far as required materials, let me just kind of go over that list. I know it's a big hit in the pocketbook when you get to the bookstore for this course. Keep in mind this is a 2-semester sequence, and the investment you're making is not only an investment for the next 2 semesters, But these are the kind of books, most of you are probably going into nursing or respiratory therapy or dental hygiene or something in the medical field, and your anatomy book is one of those books that you're probably going to keep and hold on to and keep on your shelf because it's something you'll be referring back to in many courses in the future. There are some classes that perhaps you've taken that you can say with great confidence, I'll never look at that again, right? But that's not true of this book. So I think as you're investing in this, and it is an investment, that I hope you realize you're kind of adding to your own personal library and that your atlas and your textbook for A&P is something that you're going to keep throughout your college career, maybe beyond, because there's such good information in there that's going to feed to and speak to other classes, okay? So it is an investment. I know that. It's tough. You have the Martini textbook. Okay, that's that blue textbook. It came in a bundle in the bookstore. If you bought it online, let me talk to you about that in a second. But the Martini textbook, Visual Anatomy and Physiology, second edition. Beautiful book. Very visual. It's kind of a new way of presenting anatomy and physiology. Most majors, and this is the majors course, most majors anatomy and physiology textbooks are very wordy. You know, there's some pictures and there's some things like that, but it's very, very wordy. And they've taken all that wordiness and broken it into little paragraph sections, short little segments, and they put it right next to the visual component of the content. I think you will really enjoy the book. It's just a little bit different, but it's set up in two-page spreads. So every page you open up, there's a two-page spread, full-page spread, called a module, and that's just how it's set up. And I think you'll really, really enjoy the way that it's done. Now, in that package were three things, very important. Number one was a workbook. Anybody have it with them by chance? I don't have a visual for you right now. It was just a paperback. It's called the worksheets or the workbook. And that's going to be important. There'll be some of those pages that you'll be doing as review. Some of those pages you'll be turning in for credit in your labs. So that's an important component. Okay? There was also in there a lab atlas, the Hebert Photographic Atlas for Anatomy and Physiology. Beautiful book, brand new, off the press. Really, really pleased that we can get that for you. And just so you know, I know it's expensive, but they throw the atlas in free. They throw the workbook in, quote, free, and they gave us a half-price discount on the mastering A&P code that's also in there. So even though it's an expensive thing, the book itself is almost as much as the bundle that you purchased. And so just know we've done our best to cooperate and to negotiate prices for you. The important thing that I need to announce right now, and I sent out an email last night, I think we finally figured out what's going on. How many of you have been able to successfully register in mastering? Not many of you, right? Just a couple of you. How many have tried and reached some brick wall? Something's not right. How many have no idea what I'm talking about? Okay. The code, who bought their book just now with this semester in the bookstore here? Okay. That code, they gave you the wrong one. Okay? So the mastering A&P code, I think it's on a little red card or green, red card, right? Kind of a reddish card. They gave you the wrong one. Okay, and I sent out an email late last night when I finally figured out with Pearson what was going on. And they admitted to me, oops, we sent you all of your students who just bought the pack in the bookstore the wrong code. And you're going to have to call Pearson. I gave you the number in the email announcement. Tell them specifically what I told you in the announcement, which is that this code was given to me, it's the wrong one. I need to change it in, trade it in for a code for modified mastering. And I've got it in the email, okay? It shouldn't take very long. They have 24/7 service, and they'll probably, in the past, what they've done when this has happened a couple of times, they have emailed it to your account. So you want to call when you've got your computer open and you've got your email open so that you can receive that code in real time. Just say, hey, I'm gonna stay on the line with you until that code comes over, and then try it. And I'll show you how to do that in a moment. And just don't hang up until it works, right? And if there are any additional issues, let me know. But I think we've got the problem solved. It seems like people have called and gotten about 4 different explanations as to why things are wrong. And there's nothing wrong except the code is invalid. Okay, so they sent the wrong kind of code. And I do apologize for that. There's nothing I can do about that. They suggested that in about a week we could go back to the bookstore and exchange them. And I said, you know what? We can't wait a week to get started with this. So I'm just going to have my students call. It'll take just a couple minutes on each of your parts, get the new number, get registered, and I'll go through that in a minute. But all that was in your package, right? There was the paperback book, the lab atlas on binder, the big textbook, and then there was that cardboard code in there. Okay, so you're going to need that to move forward with registering. For lab, you're also going to need about a 1.5-inch thick Amerman lab manual. Okay, that's a full color lab manual, and with it comes a fetal pig dissection book. You'll hear more about lab when you get to lab. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on that. But there's quite a bit, right, to handle. And what you'll need to bring to lab will be the big Amerman book and the lab supplement. I think it's white colored, okay? What you're going to also want to purchase is the light blue colored lecture supplement, and that's what you're going to have with you whenever you're listening to or attending lectures. Okay? You always want to have your lab supplement or your lecture supplement with you, and that's what you're going to be following along with and taking notes on. As hybrid students, I want to make sure that you hear me clearly. You are always welcome to attend lecture. Okay, if you find that, you know what, this thing on my own or this hybrid thing just isn't really working for me, I want you to realize that there are 2 other lectures that you can attend. One of them is in this room right after this at 10:10. Okay, so from 10:10 to 11:35 on Tuesdays and Thursdays, I'll be giving the spiel here. Also the night before, Monday and Wednesday, I'm also giving the lecture. On Mondays, it changes rooms. On Monday, it's in room 351, and on Wednesday, it's in room 1304, this room. Okay? So if you feel, even if it's just once a week, you know what? I'm only going to come to campus on these days. I can't attend every time, but you know what? Half the time, I'm going to try to come to lecture. It's up to you. You can kind of pick and choose that. Some instructors, when you choose online or hybrid, say, you know what? You're on your own. You can't come to lecture. I'm opening the door. We've got enough room to make it work. Because I also have, quote, regular students who will just not come, and they'll kind of become hybrid. They'll start listening to the lectures mostly on their own. And so there's enough of a combination that you are always welcome. We'll make it work, okay? You don't need to let me know. Just come, especially if you think that you're running into trouble and you need to have that reinforcement of coming to lecture. You're going to need 6 Scantron forms. These are a form that not many other profs on campus are using. This is an 884-E. That's just the code name for this particular form. It is an 8.5 by 11 full-size green double-sided Scantron form. They usually sell a half-sheet green one, and they sell a double-sided orange one. Okay, neither one of those will work. It's a full-size 8.5 by 11 green double-sided. They're not in the vending machines. They're not the ones that they have out in the bookstore most of the time. When you're upstairs, you'll have to say, hey, I'm in Mac's course. I need that different form that he uses. And so they'll tell you what that is and give it to you. Okay, I think they're about $1/4 a piece. When you're buying your resources, grab that. You can get them any time throughout the semester. You'll need 1 per exam. If you buy all 6 now, I definitely recommend you just stick them in the back of your textbook where they're flat and safe and dry. Okay, don't leave them in your something else where they're going to get all wrinkled up and messed up. Other things in here just about lab. We'll be providing the goggles in the lab, or the gloves in the lab coat, and you'll get all those notes in lab. Any questions just about resources? Is there anything in the bookstore that they're running low on that you're aware of? I heard that the lab supplement was a little bit low as of yesterday, but they may have replenished the numbers. Anybody know of any shortages? Okay. This is a combined course, lecture and lab. You're going to get 1 grade for the combined. The way it breaks down is that lecture counts for 70% of the material. Lab will count for 30% of the material. Okay, and you are all in different labs. Some of you have Monday labs, yes? Some of you have Wednesday labs. Some of you have Friday labs, right? So you're all over the place as far as labs. And when you get to lab, kind of look around and say, are you in hybrid, or even if it doesn't matter, but try to establish some community with the people that have some of the same schedule with you that you're going to see in lab. Because they'll make great study partners because you have some of the same schedule concerns. But let's take a look at how you're going to get your lecture points. I'll let your lab instructor deal with the lab stuff. But lecture is going to have 6 exams. Those exams will be spread out over the semester. They're in the calendar. Each exam will be worth 80 points. Okay, they are going to be a combination exam. There'll be some multiple choice. There'll be a little bit of short answer, a little bit of fill in the blank. There'll be a little bit of looking at the screen and identifying structures. This is anatomy, so there will be some what is that, what is that, what is that kind of questions. And they're non-cumulative, and there is no cumulative final exam. It's just another exam at the end over the last couple of chapters. Okay, so you have 6 exams over the semester. Each of those is worth 80 points. you will have the opportunity as official hybrid students to take the exams on either of the 2 days that the students traditionally are taking it. So if the exam is offered in Monday, Tuesday, then you can choose to call up the tutoring center, and I'll show you that in a moment, the testing center, and take the exam on Monday or Tuesday of that week, okay? So you have some flexibility. That's, again, the pro of hybrid is you have some flexibility in the timing of your exam, a little bit of flexibility, and I'll go over how to schedule all that in a minute. Online quizzes before each exam. There will be on this program called Mastering a quiz. That quiz is going to help you get prepared for the exam. And each of those quizzes, there's deadlines. I'll show you that in a moment. And those quizzes are 10 points each. So basically each exam plus the quiz associated with it, 90 points. Okay. And then there's going to be a take-home exam. That take-home exam is completely separate, off the grid, different from anything else. It's also on Mastering. Okay. For those who are leaving, I'm going to be posting this, okay, so you can listen back into it, okay? That'll be worth 50 points. There is I have it here listed as diagnostic quiz. That's that My Readiness test. Another issue, okay? There's something going on there. That one I'm still waiting on clarification. How many have tried to take that and were successful? Okay, it's working, right? For some people it worked, and for others they're running into a brick wall. And I'm trying to figure out, I was on the phone with them at midnight last night again, still trying to figure out, hey, some students have done this fine and others are having trouble. Can you help me figure out what's going on? It's a different issue than the Mastering. I apologize. This is a sort of a diagnostic test just to give me an idea of where you are as individuals in your prereq kind of information, as well as just in general overall in the class, how students are doing. And you're going to get full credit. You're going to take the test. It's 1 hour. Okay, it's a quiz, test. It's 1 hour, it's 70 questions. You're just going to do the very best you can. And I'll use it as a gauge to see where the class is as a whole and use it as some data. But you're going to get full credit for doing it, okay? So just if you get a 30% on the exam, don't worry about it. You're still going to get full credit on that 10 points, okay, for doing it. But I need to figure out what's going on. And if I have to extend the deadline on that a couple more days through early next week, I'll do that, okay? At this point, I think I have it due Saturday. I wanted to have it done within the first week. But if I'm having trouble with registration, obviously I can't hold that deadline very much longer. I will send out a specific email about what's going on with that, okay? There's a short research paper, very short, 4 paragraphs long. It's not very long at all. And I'll tell you a lot more about that later on. That's going to be worth 50 points. There are some assignments on this program called Mastering A&P, and throughout the semester. They're there to help you, quote, master the material. They're kind of interactive, a lot of matching and drop and drag kind of activities. Kind of fun, I think. They could be a lot worse, okay? They could be a lot more boring. And if at the end of the semester you have done the vast majority of them, and by that I mean 80%, there's a certain amount of points associated with each assignment. And if at the end of the assignment, at the end of the semester, you have earned 80% of all of the potential points, so that means you could have missed a couple of assignments altogether, but done most of them very well. Or it means that just along the way, you've done every single assignment and you got at least an 80% or better. You will get all 30 points. It's not a lot of points, okay? It's basically rewarding you for doing homework, if you will. And most students get all 30 points, okay? It's just those who just slack off and don't do anything at all that really suffer at the end. And I hate to see at the end people lose 30 points. 30 points is 3%. You know, if you're teetering around a grade, the last thing you want is to lose 3% of your grade at the very, very end. Okay, so just know that just do the assignments, watch the calendar, I'll show you that in a moment, and you'll get those 30 points at the end. There are lab quizzes, pre-lab assignments, that'll all be described to you in lab, and there's some practical exams in lab as well, and that brings us to a total of 1,000 points. Okay, 1,000 points in the overall course. In the fine print down there, it gives you the dates and everything's on the calendar as well. It also, look down there in the fine print under number 4, and it says a diagnostic pretest. That's that My Readiness test. And it gives you an access code and it gives you a program ID. As far as I know, those numbers are still okay, but there's some glitch going on right now. So I will send out a confirmation on that. And then if and when you are registering for Mastering, if there's any question about what is the course ID for Mastering, that's on the front of your syllabus in bold. Okay, it says Macaulay 86783. That's sort of the code. That's the, quote, course ID for Mastering. So you're going to need that when you call up Pearson and get that code switched over. They're going to ask you for the course ID, perhaps they will, and that's in bold there for you. Okay, so it's two separate things, completely separate things. Mastering, totally separate from the My Readiness test, and it's the mastering that I think I have figured out as far as what the problem is, and the My Readiness test I'm still trying to figure out what the glitch is. Okay. Now, as far as the grades go, you need to have at least a C to move on to Biology 106. You need to have at least a C to transfer a course to another university, and that's 72%. Okay, so the magic minimum is 720 points out of the 1,000. That's your minimum goal, 720. And that will get you to the next level, okay, to 106. Any questions about materials, how you're going to be evaluated, anything at all? Okay, very good. You guys, if you would, just go ahead and turn to a couple people that you don't know and grab their student information, contact phone number, just so you have a couple of more people to contact. You'll do the same thing in lab, okay? So just reach out to some people you don't know so you can give them a call. Okay, so is everyone okay with just going to Blackboard? Okay, so has everyone been around Muskegon long enough to know? Go in to your MyMCC, and you're going to see your courses, maybe something that looks like this, and we're down here. And when you come into the Blackboard site, you're going to see over on the side the tabs. Everything you need for lecture will be under here under lecture materials. This is where YouTube lecture links, this is where I will put the links to the YouTube lectures. Already there, if you click on that, I already have, oops, wrong click. I already have in here all of my presentations from summer and from the fall. And those have not changed, okay? So I have not changed my materials significantly enough. And so some weeks I may be recording the lectures, some weeks I may just be, quote, reposting the older ones. If you hear reference to a date-specific thing that just like doesn't make any sense, ignore it. Refer to the syllabus and I'll make announcements about what's different. But you actually can be ahead of the class in a way if you choose to, because you can be listening to some of these things in advance. So can the regular students, the traditional students. But I just want to point out to you that I will have another folder here that's going to say Biology 105 Winter 2015. That's where I'll be posting this presentation right now and anything new, but I may just be reposting some of the old ones. Okay, so just don't worry about date-specific things. I will make notes if there's changes there. Mastering A&P. When you click on this, this is where it should give you the opportunity to enroll in mastering. And when you click on it, I can't replicate what you see, but when you click on Mastering A&P, it should bring you to signing up, okay, to a place where you can sign up. Do you have a code? Yes. If you are a student who's listening or is here who has taken this course in the past and didn't quite make that C, and you have a code from previous, you're good. That code is good for 24 months. It's going to be good for you through 105 and through 106 for the next 24 months. And you'll have to put, it'll say, do you have a code or have you already registered? And you'll put in your old username and password that you used, and then relink it to that course, that Macauley 86783, whatever that number is, and it will get you into the course. Okay? If you have issues with that, again, call Pearson. They got 24/7 tech support. They're pretty quick to pick up the phone, and they can solve most of your problems very, very quickly. And I'll show you mastering in a minute when we get into this. And then everything for lab will be here under the lab materials. And so everything you need for the course is here, lecture and lab, access to YouTube, and your Mastering A&P site. When you're in the lecture materials, I just have it set up in folders. So what you're going to see looks like this. And under exam 1, you will find the PowerPoints that I'll be presenting. Those PowerPoints are the same thing that you have already printed in your lecture supplement. It's just a lot cheaper, honestly, for you to receive and buy that packet for $20-some, whatever it is, than to print it out yourself. Ink cartridges aren't cheap. And so you have those notes already in front of you. You can be taking notes along with the presentation. Okay. But if you wanted to pull them up and see them in larger size, all of those lectures are posted here for you. Didn't quite get through all of the syllabus. Let me just back up really quick. And under lecture material, I do have a copy of the syllabus. And let me just point out where I'm heading right now on this document. So we've gone over sort of all the requirements and the grading scale and what to expect as far as evaluation. If I head on down to the bottom of this, I want to point out that we'll go over the laboratory things in lab, but I want to point out this, that for this course, we have some wonderful resources for you. There they go. There is supplemental instruction. Basically what that means is that there's going to be a lot of opportunity for you to go into room 249. Room 249 is right across the hallway from the lab. And that room is labeled as the biology resource room. And in there, by tomorrow I should have the dates posted. But we're going to have a significant number of hours a week where there's a peer tutor just sitting there waiting for you to come in and ask questions related to this content. All of these folks had me as an instructor, and they know sort of my little permutations, the way I do things. And so drop in, right? I'll get that schedule posted on Blackboard. You'll see it. I'll send an announcement. But they're just sitting there waiting for you. In addition, there may be someone coming in any moment now from the tutoring center to tell us that in addition to our walk-in tutoring, there's also the availability for you to get one-on-one tutoring. You simply go to the tutoring center, type in your name, put in the request, the course, and there's about 4 or 5 tutors this semester. We've got quite a few, a small army of them, waiting to start scheduling around your schedule and around theirs some one-on-one tutoring opportunities. If you think you might need that extra little bit of help, that little bit of extra attention, I definitely recommend that you go ahead and set up a tutoring assignment. Go ahead and get it started now. It takes a little while to get the paperwork going and a couple of weeks before you'll probably meet with somebody. And I suggest you try it. You can always, quote, cancel it later if you find that, hey, you know what, this isn't working. Or another really good thing to do is maybe find 2 or 3 people and go together, right? A little more efficient, kind of have a tutor there with your small group. But whatever you decide, I just want you to know there are a lot of resources that we have here at the college. And so you've got walk-in tutoring, you've got one-on-one tutoring, you've got that biology resource room. The biology resource room opens at 7 o'clock in the morning. Jennifer, our lab manager, arrives around 7. That door is then available to be opened if you get here early. And it's open till about 9 o'clock at night, which is when the labs are going on somewhere in that hallway. So you have about 12 hours a day, 14 hours a day, where that room is available to you. It's not open quite as late on Friday, but Monday through Thursday it's open late. In that room, it's not very fancy, but there's some computers. You could do some mastering assignments in there if you wanted to. There are the models, there's extra textbooks, there's resources, there's microscopes, there's slides. Everything that we're doing in lab, there's representative things there of that. And you might find that it's also useful for studying for lecture or for small groups. So check that room out. It's, again, right across the hallway from the labs. So and then you've also got my office hours, of course, to come in and search out my help. So please, just take advantage of all the resources we have for you, okay? The rest of the syllabus is that standard language that you're going to find in every syllabus. It's sort of contractual. It's what we're given and told you must include all this. What it basically says is this. We're accredited, that we know what we're talking about. Personally, I have taught anatomy and physiology at a number of institutions around the country and about 5 different schools here in Michigan. And I can tell you with great certainty, this isn't to sound cocky, but this is great certainty, that what we do here is on par with, or in my opinion in some places, better than some of our sister institutions in West Michigan. Okay? So you're in good hands. We don't have the best facilities in the planet. That's going to be fixed, right? We're going to have beautiful facilities this coming fall. The new building is going up. That's all life sciences. There's going to be 2 gorgeous, beautiful anatomy labs. But we still have a lot of good resources. You're in good instruction, and I think you'll get a lot out of this course. It also tells you to check your email. Email is the way by which I'll be communicating with you. Any announcement that I send through Blackboard will also be sent to you as an email. Okay, so you'll see it either way. Announcement in Blackboard or in your email. It talks about student behavior. You act human, I'll act human, we'll get along just fine. Just a little bit about respect. It mentions how to get onto Blackboard. It mentions a little bit about dispute resolution. If you have a concern with the way, quote, you've been treated or the way the course is going, there is a process in place for you to voice your concerns. Okay, so that's kind of what the language of the syllabus tells you in no specific order. A couple of things about lecture. It is expected that you attend or view the lectures as quickly as possible. Again, do not get behind. That is just death, if you will. Reading the textbook is really a good idea. Even before you sit down and listen to the presentation, maybe spend 30 minutes looking through those pages, right? Just kind of reading through, getting the idea, and then turn the thing on and follow along. Since you have the opportunity to start and stop the presentation, you might want to be really efficient, kind of get to a space where you have your book, you have your lecture supplement, and you have your laptop or tablet out, and you're listening to the lecture. And you have all that there. You can start it, stop it, kind of dig in, because it's really important that you not just listen to it and just put it away and never look at it again. There is quite a bit of material, some of which will go by rather fast. That's the nice thing about my recording the lectures, is that you can go back and listen to that place where you were thinking about lunch and you missed what I said. Okay. We've also got the exam schedule, and let me show that to you in a moment about where you can go to take the exams. Attendance policy, again, lecture, you're doing it on your own. Attendance at labs, you'll go over that in lab, that is required, and you'll hear about the requirements of that there. If you have any sort of disability that has been diagnosed in the past or a newly diagnosis, please share that with Student Services. There are some programs in place, some accommodations that can be made for you, and I will work with them in confidence. Usually those accommodations include having a little bit more time on tests through the testing center. Let's take a look at the calendar. Here we are, okay? Monday, Tuesday, Monday M/T, that's Monday, Tuesday, on the 12th and 13th, okay, 13th today. We're talking about the introduction to the course, and I would continue if I were going to hold you the whole time, start talking through the lecture. Okay, I'm not going to be doing that with you. And this information comes from Chapter 1. I apologize, the formatting on the screen is a little bit different than your syllabus. So this is from Chapter 1 from your Martini book. And then next time, I'll be giving a presentation on, or starting a presentation on the chemistry of life, if you will. This is Chapter 2. Next Monday, there are no classes. Even my Monday students will be listening to a pre-recorded lecture so that we can keep in sync. Next Tuesday, I'll finish up the chemistry section. The first exam is actually quite a ways away. And the reason it's quite a ways away, just so you know, is that because of the MLK holiday, my Monday lab students don't have Lab 2 for 2 weeks, right? They kind of do a skip jump over to the far away, right? They've got quite a bit of time. And I want to make sure everyone has Lab 2 under their belt before we take the exam, because it has some chemistry issues in it. So for that reason, Exam 1, kind of comes a little bit later than you might expect. And that exam, it tells us, only covers Chapters 1, okay, Chapter 1, Chapter 2. So that's the introduction stuff and the chemistry material, and the material you're going to learn in Lab 1. It also will include vocab 1 through 16, and I'll talk about the vocab in a second. That exam is on Wednesday or Thursday. R is my abbreviation for Thursday. On Wednesday or Thursday, the 28th or the 29th of January. With it, and then you can follow through the rest of the calendar. With that information, here's what you're going to do with that. You are able to take that exam on either day, the 28th or the 29th. You're going to go to my MCC, you're going to go to Student Services, go down to Testing Center. At Testing Center, there's a block over here that says Book Now. You're going to click on that, put in your personal information. The Testing Center has already been sent my schedule of exams. Now, I don't know if it's in there yet, right? Give it a couple days, but they've been sent that information. So when you click on that, and you will click on Biology 105, it will give you the choice of taking it on the 28th or the 29th. Okay, and you'll schedule your exam and go there and take it with them. You'll have the same hour and a half that the students in the traditional group will have for the exams. Okay, so definitely take a look at the master calendar, look at those bolded dates for the exams, think about what day is better for you, Monday or Tuesday. You don't have to make that decision now. As you're approaching that time, you want to make that appointment the day before. There have been days where the testing center is full. There's everyone in there, and so you need to be a little bit flexible. So I would definitely try to do it a week before. It definitely has to be scheduled the night before, the day before, and you can always change it if you need to. But call them or contact them, schedule those exams, and that's where your exam will be waiting there for you. That's how you will take your exams, okay, is through the testing center by going up to student services down to testing center. Okay, I think that's pretty much everything on the syllabus. You can see the rest of it as far as the schedule. Again, I've been doing this course long enough that I know that I will be plus or minus 5 or 10 minutes on every lecture throughout the semester. So I will keep the schedule unless there's some snow day or something that happens in our overall schedule. And you can with confidence know that the dates on there are the days that the exams will be held. Okay, so definitely take a look at that in your master calendar. Now, let me go ahead and if there are no questions about the syllabus, let me just show you a couple of things about your mastering site. Okay, so when you get in here, and I know I'm very, very hopeful that we're all going to be into mastering here very, very quickly. So once you have your code, right, and again, if you bought your book recently, or if you bought your book online and you got a code, likely it's not the right one either. You're going to need to call Pearson. And when you call them, you're going to go in here and it's going to ask you to get registered. This is what it's going to look like once you get into here. It's going to say Biology 105, Winter 15. Okay, so once you're in and you see this, you know you're in the right place. Okay, you're going to see the first thing that's going to pop up is a calendar. Okay, and in that calendar it tells you that this coming Friday, the 16th, if all goes well, there's a very, very short assignment called Introduction to Mastering A&P. It's just 3 questions long. It's basically just helping you navigate and understand what you can do within this environment. If I need to, I'll move that a couple more days, but I'm hoping that we get this resolved in the next couple days and you can click on that and go in and just do those quick three questions, okay? And you're going to see there are just assignments spread out over the calendar. So you need to go to Mastering and look at this calendar. This calendar is not on Blackboard, right? They're not showing. So you have to kind of be looking at Blackboard for announcements and checking out Mastering. These things won't change. They'll be there. It tells you right now that it's due, on what you would see, is that this thing is due Friday at 11 o'clock at night. Okay, and I'll move it if I have to. There's a couple other assignments. This one is due also on Friday. This is sort of some questions about the first chapter materials. So the mastering assignments, I'm going to force all my students not to get behind. So there are going to be these little assignments that are going to be periodically scheduled throughout the semester, and they're going to help keep you honest, keep you on schedule with the lecture. What you see down here is that on the 27th, there's a quiz in preparation of Exam 1. Exam 1 quiz. You can't see it yet when you get to your site, but just so you see it on my calendar, it's about a day or 2 before the exam. You'll complete that quiz in preparation of the exam. It'll help you be more successful on the exam. And then there are some homework assignments, Chapter 1 and Chapter 2. Now notice that the date is way over here on the 29th. All that means is that you can do them no later than that date. That's the last day. You can always do them early. Okay? So you have the homework assignments, you have the quiz, that's worth 10 points, and the exam, which will be taken in the testing center, which is worth 80 more points. Let me show you what else is in here, and we're almost done for the day. Course home, that's where you see the calendar. I don't have the syllabus posted here. You can also look at the assignments in a different way, just kind of as a list. I like the calendar. It just makes more sense to me. This is where you go to see how you're doing on your scores and everything. Go down here. Here's your e-text. So you actually have a complete e-text of the textbook available at your fingertips. And what I really want to point out to you right now is this area called Study Area. This is available through Mastering. If you click on Study Area, it'll link you over to the website for the textbook. And here it's arranged by chapter. So Chapter 1, Chapter 2, Chapter 3. Look what there is. I mean, here's Chapter 2. For Chapter 2, there's a chapter guide. There's a pre-test. There are quizzes. There are activities. There's a practice test. There is so much stuff available to you. Okay? There's a lot of stuff. There's not enough hours in the day to do it all. So here's what you're going to, everybody says, well, what do I do? Just tell me, hold my hand and tell me what I need to do. You need to minimally do the homework assignments on Mastering. You need to minimally do the quiz in preparation for the exam on Mastering. You need to be listening to lectures, and you need to do all the things that are related to lab. But that probably won't be enough to truly do the score that you want. So now you've got these other resources, and this is up to you to kind of personally find the things that work for you. Maybe check out the pre-test or check out the practice test on here. The more you practice, right, answering questions and seeing the material, the more successful you'll be. There's no points associated with all this, but it's all here for you. And then later in the course, I or your lab instructor will be telling you more about some other things that are down here, like some dissection videos, some laboratory things, some movies and videos that we'll be watching, and you'll get instructions on each of those things as needed. But a lot of that is through this program called Mastering, and then clicking into this area called the study area. And again, right here at the very top, it's divided by chapter. Okay, so let's go back out of this. And that's pretty much all you need to worry about within the mastering environment. So my purpose this morning was really just to meet with you quickly, give you the syllabus, go over the expectations, help you get, plugged in, feeling a little bit more comfortable with what's expected. Your number one thing right now is to get enrolled in mastering, okay? Actually, you got two things going on. If you've already been to lab, you've already got your first pre-lab done. If you haven't gotten your pre-lab done for tomorrow or Friday, you want to make sure that's done for you. Is everybody okay with that pre-lab concept? In your lab book, there's a page that says Lab 1. At the bottom, there's a half page of things it tells you to do in preparation for Lab 1. If you haven't purchased your lab supplement or your big interview book yet, I did post all that you need under Lab 1, in case your financial aid hasn't come in or you just don't have the money yet. You can also, the other thing is, then the other thing you want to do is get into master. Even if you don't get the number thing resolved, you can go in to Blackboard, click on mastering, register, and there's a free 10-day or 2-week trial that everyone can get into right now, right? No doubt. Just get into mastering, so there's really no reason not to get into mastering. You can do the free trial, and then over the next couple of days, before that expires, get on the phone when it's convenient for you with Pearson and get it converted. You won't lose anything. It's still your information. It's still your account. Okay? So get into mastering, get enrolled, use the free trial so that there's no excuses, no reason not to get in there, and then get hold of Pearson and get that code switched over. And again, I apologize for that inconvenience. Then listen. Okay, watch your emails and start watching for posts. If there's ever any doubt about where you are, what you need to be doing, you need to reach out by email. Who has need for lab, just so I have an idea, on Monday or Wednesday morning, okay? And then Friday, okay, some people have Jane Wright, she's outstanding, and so she'll see you on Friday. And is that everybody? Is it every Monday, Wednesday, or Friday morning? I think that's everybody. Friday afternoon? Friday morning? Anyway, you all have a lab assignment. Any other questions for me right now? Okay, it's been a pleasure. I'll let you out here a little bit early. And I will look forward to seeing you in lab or in my office hours.